Welcome in, everyone. We have a very interesting update when it comes to President Donald Trump's handling of the border, what he's doing down there to make sure that the chaos and carnage that has been flooding over is no more, and we can put a stop to the poison and the flood of people who do not belong in the United States. We have a very significant update, but before we get into that, as always, please like and subscribe, comment with your thoughts. Really helps us share the stories of the people we're trying to get their stories out. And trust me, you guys are a much bigger part of this than I am. I couldn't do any of this without all of you, so I do appreciate it. So as soon as Trump was sworn into office, he signed multiple executive orders. Two of the big ones were to essentially shut down the border and to declare drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. As we've talked about before, declaring them FTOs allows the toolbox to open up. It allows him to have more options at his disposal for what he wants to do to handle them. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has already said that all options are on the table when it comes to dealing with the cartels. And about 1,500 troops were sent to plus up the guys who were already at the border doing what they could at the very end of the Biden administration. Trump wasted no time. Now, we have a very significant update that it turns out the first group of troops that went to the border was just essentially a pinprick on the timeline of what President Trump and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth are going to do. It turns out there is a lot more help on the way, according to a big report from the Associated Press that was shared Friday, February 7th. I'm filming this February 8th, which is Saturday. Let's go ahead and read some of this report. The Pentagon will deploy roughly 1,500 more active duty soldiers to the southern border to support President Donald Trump's expanding crackdown on immigration, a U.S. official said Friday. That brings the total number of troops on the border to 3,600. The report further states the order has been approved, the official said, to send Logistics Brigade from the 18th Airborne Corps at Fort Liberty. Of course, all the old school people watching know that that is Fort Bragg, and the official spoke on the condition of anonymity because the deployment had not been publicly announced. So then it says, furthermore, 500 more soldiers from the 10th Mountain Division are expected to begin moving in the coming days, and 500 Marines are also on their way to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, where the worst of the worst criminals are being held until we can figure out where we're going to send them. What exactly are they going to do? It says here that they're putting up troops already there and expect to come are putting up wire barriers, transportation needs, intelligence, and they are there to support Border Patrol. Now, there's a lot to unpack here. 3,600 people in totality is not an overwhelming number of military members, right? You're not going to invade a country with 3,600 people. Not that we're going to invade a country anyways. I'm just putting the numbers into perspective. But what it does show is a massive uptick in troop commitments on the border. We didn't really see any of this in the Biden administration. We're now a few weeks into Trump's second term. We're, 18-ish days, about right around 3 weeks in. And already we have a total number of troops at the border at 3,600. And these are not random guys, right? They're coming from the 10th Mountain Division, the 18th Airborne Corps. These are guys with really good training. They know what they're doing. They're experienced. They are not your standard, National Guard unit or something like that. Not that there's anything wrong with the National Guard. Those guys do their job incredibly well too. But the 10th Mountain Division is one of the best units in the entire military. And the fact that it is going 500 members of it, according to the AP, is a clear sign that Trump is taking this situation incredibly serious. And there's also another little nugget that we need to unpack about it. And that other nugget is this. What is this signal to the cartels, to the people that are breaking the law down there, that they're doing things that you're not even allowed to say on YouTube if you want the video to stay up? They're kidnapping, they're trafficking, they're doing all these terrible things, these cartels. Well, now we have some of the best soldiers in the United States military surging to the border on our side of the border, obviously. They're not going down into Mexico. Let's be crystal clear about that. They are there to seal up the border, provide Border Patrol with the help and resources and backing they need. But we also can't be shy about this. This is being done, and it's being done in part to send a clear message to the cartels that if you want to, F around and find out, our guys are already there. And it's not just some dudes. It's elite military members. It's elite members of the U.S. Army. In adding to that, we know that there's been recon and spy flights going up and down the border. There was the report that took social media by storm that I believe it was an RC-135. It was out on the west side of Mexico, flying in the Gulf of California. The United States military at the time didn't really want to say much about that. They would not talk about flight patterns, any of that. We have to add all of this up. We have to take it piece by piece, and also we can't overreact. I'm not sitting here saying Sicario 3, great movie created by Taylor Sheridan, good dude. I'm not saying that that's guaranteed to happen. What I am saying is that you want to do a show of force. You want to make it clear to the bad guys that the games are over, the treating them like children is over, treating them with the soft gloves is done. How do you do that? Well, you have to establish deterrence. I'd say 3,600 of the best troops in the United States military surging to the border is a pretty strong deterrent against a bad guy. I'd say the fact that we're making it known that we're flying spy planes, recon planes, up and down the border into the Gulf of California on the west side of Mexico is a pretty clear indication that we are taking this situation very seriously, that President Trump's taking the situation very seriously, that Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth is taking the situation very seriously. You have to look at it in totality. Again, is 3,600 troops going to change everything? No, but it is a massive surge of power to the border, a massive surge of power. Is flying spy flights going to change everything? No. But it is a step up the ladder if you want to put together a target package in the event President Trump decides he wants to hit something. I will not be very surprised if Trump hits a cartel leader this year. I think I'm going to do a video on that later, how I think that could play out. I'm not for sure what's going to happen, but you have to look at this piece by piece. Gone are the days of letting people just flood over the border. That's over. 3,600 troops are down there to make sure that doesn't happen. That is a significant fighting force. And if the cartels want to come over the border and take shots like they did in California at those hikers, they're going to learn real quick that the 10th Mountain Division doesn't play games, that the United States Marines don't play games. If they decide to fire from the Mexican side of the border if they encounter U.S. troops, they're going to be absolutely destroyed in that engagement. I'm not talking about a grand war. I'm talking about a single engagement. If they get into contact with U.S. troops, 3,600 of them down there, some of the best troops we have, and let's say they get caught smuggling someone and they fire, which they've done repeatedly at Border Patrol, and Border Patrol shoots back. Now you're going to be shooting against the United States military and all the assets they have. Drones, helicopters, machine guns. Obviously they're all armed with M4s and much more. It is a game changer to the dynamic. It completely amplifies the stakes. It sends a clear message to the bad guys that if you want to do this, you're going to pay with it essentially with your life. So it's a significant update. Surging troops to the border, sending a clear message to Mexico and the cartels. And Mexico sent 10,000 guys to cover their side of the border. We'll see if they're any good at their job, but we don't know yet. Time will tell. The jury's still out on that. But again, Trump is just going up the ladder, up the ladder, up the ladder. Anyways, that's the big update. If you liked it, if you've stayed this far in the video, it means you liked what you saw. Please like and subscribe. And as always, comment with your thoughts below. I'll see you all next time.